Hi, and welcome to DocuScope Corpus Analysis and Concordancer. In this tutorial, I will show you how to manage corpus data using the application. This video walks you through loading a pre-processed corpus, processing a corpus of your own, saving a corpus, deleting a corpus, as well as how to include metadata in your file names. Before processing any data, I want to quickly review some basics of corpus preparation. First, if you haven't already, familiarize yourself with the fundamentals of corpus design. This link is a good place to start if you are new to this kind of work. And as a side note, even if you are using data prepared by someone else, it's always a good idea to examine a few of the corpus files. Never use Word to open plain text files. If you have a Mac, BBEdit is a good plain text editor, and if you have Windows, Sublime Text is nice. Both are free. Okay, let's begin. After opening DocuScope Corpus Analysis and Concordancer, click on the Manage Corpus Data button. This is the command center for managing the text data that you want to analyze. The first step is to load a target corpus, and you have a couple of options. You can load a corpus that has already been processed and saved, or you can process a new corpus. Let's start by loading a saved corpus. Choose Yes from the Load a Saved Corpus options. At the top of the sidebar, you will see buttons for selecting which dictionary has tagged the data. Remember that for part-of-speech tagging, the tag sets are the same regardless of the dictionary. It is only the DocuScope tags that are different. The large dictionary has a more elaborated set of DocuScope tags than the common dictionary. For more detail, you can click the Tags Explained button. Once you've chosen a dictionary, you can select data from the drop-down menu. Let's start with MyCAS Mini, which contains 10 student papers from 17 academic disciplines, subsampled from the Michigan corpus of upper-level student papers. Once you've selected your corpus, click the Load Saved Corpus button. Note that loading a pre-processed corpus is almost instantaneous. The application returns information about the size of our corpus. Counts of tokens include punctuation marks and symbols. Counts of word tokens exclude punctuation marks and symbols, but does include numbers. There is also an expander that shows the names of the documents included in the corpus. Once a corpus has been loaded, you can use most of the other tools. However, to use Compare Corpus Parts and Advanced Plotting, we first need to process some metadata. Metadata can be encoded in file names, so let's go back and look at our corpus files again. Our file names include a series of letters before an underscore. These letters represent the names of academic disciplines. Bio stands for biology, CEE for civil and environmental engineering, and so on. The formatting of these names is critical. DocuScope Corpus Analysis and Concordancer can recognize any series of characters at the beginning of a file name and before an underscore as categorical data. Here we have the names of disciplines, but you could also have the names of text types or the names of authors, whatever is relevant to your project, but keep names consistent and systematic, and as a best practice, avoid using spaces in your file names. To process the metadata, select Yes for Target Corpus Metadata and click the Process Document Metadata button. Now you should see an expander with the metadata information that includes counts of files in each category. Now if we go to the Compare Corpus Parts and Advanced Plotting tools, we see drop-down lists of our categories that we can select for analysis. Let's reset the corpus and try processing a new one. To process a new corpus, all file names must be in plain text with the .txt extension. It is also easiest if you've organized all of your corpus files into a single folder or directory. Use the Browse Files widget to locate your corpus files, then select them. After you see them in the widget, click the Upload Target button. Note that all file names must be unique. You should now see information showing the number of files that are ready to be processed. If everything looks good, including the dictionary we'd like to use for tagging, click the Process Corpus button. The time it takes to process your corpus will depend on its size. It takes roughly a minute to process 1 million words. If you're using the desktop application and you'd like to save your corpus for future analysis, select Yes, then type in a name. The name can include only letters, numbers, the hyphen, and the underscore characters. Now when we reset our corpus appears in the drop-down list. You can also delete a saved corpus, but be aware that removing a corpus cannot be undone. Finally, the processes for loading a reference corpus are the same as those for loading a target corpus. A reference corpus is required only for the Compare Corpora tool. Also, metadata can only be processed for a target corpus, and only a target corpus can be saved. Now that you know how to manage corpus data, you're ready to explore the application's various tools. Thanks for watching.